This is the GameSir G7 Pro, and it might be the best and my new favorite Xbox controller. Before we begin, this video is not sponsored by GameSir. They did send out the controller for me to test out and see how I like it, but they have no say in this video and all the thoughts are my own. This is the GameSir G7 Pro, a new GameSir controller for the Xbox that is wired and wireless for PC and mobile devices. It can work both for Bluetooth and has a USB dongle if you wanted to use it that way. Before we begin, why this is the best controller out there in my opinion for Xbox specifically, just know that supposedly they're working on a wireless version of this, and if they do make a wireless version of this, it is going to be the best controller hands down in my opinion for the Xbox. But for now, it is a semi-wireless controller, depending on where you want to use it and how you want to use it. But let's first talk about what we get in the box, because not only we get a controller, but we also get a couple of things in it. So in the box, you get the wired connection, so the nice braided cable, USB cable for the controller. You also have a USB dongle that you can use for wireless play if you don't want to use Bluetooth. You also get interchangeable D-pad. As you can see, there is a circular D-pad on it at the moment, so you can change it to a semicircle or a cross D-pad. Depending on the games you want to play, you can change it to the one that just suits your gameplay and your needs the most. Not only that, because it's a wireless controller, you actually get this docking station. It is a docking station that you can actually put a USB-C through it, and it becomes a charging station. Essentially, you can put your controller like this on your desk, which is really cool. You can have it on your desk at all times and just take it off when you want to play with it, making this a really nice stand for your controller when gaming. Which is really cool because if you're playing it wirelessly, you can just have this on your desk, and then when you're done playing, put it into place and let it recharge by itself. So that is a really nice stand for it and a really nice accessory for it. But all of that can be great. But how is it the controller? The most important part about this whole setup, the controller itself. And why do I think it's the best Xbox controller I have ever tested? Well, first off, the build quality is insanely good. It is really good. It does feel super premium. It feels like a pro controller should, and I feel like it feels more like a really nice high-end controller rather than a modded controller or a custom build controller. It feels like something you would buy in a store, but like the high-end situation. So when you have like the Xbox Elite 2 controller, it feels really good in hand. It feels like a premium controller. This is how it feels. I would say it really reminds me of that controller in terms of feel, because it's the standard Xbox layout, standard size, but with a little bit of a differences, which I feel are in a good positive change. Because as you can see, while it does seem to have like this grip elements on the front and on the back, it is a little bit different this time. The front is more like a plastic in a shape of a grip. There is texture to it, but it isn't like a rubber grip. It is something like in between. There is some kind of grip, but it's not as evident as it is on the back. On the back, we have a really nice grip. Essentially, the front is different than the back, which in my opinion is actually a good thing. I like it because the back, that's where you want to have it a little bit more grippy. That's where you want to have a little bit more like that feeling of that extra rubber. Where on the front, on the palm of your hand, it just feels better, in my opinion, the way it is here. You get some kind of grip, but it's like minimal. And I feel like that is the perfect way to do it. So in my opinion, that is a really nice plus. Ergonomically, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing as using just a stock Xbox controller, but with just a nicer finish in a way. Another cool feature of this controller is the extra buttons that we have. Not only we have the two buttons on the back, so like the two back pedals, which once again ergonomically fall right into where your middle finger is, so it's perfectly right there. If you're playing a game where you want to turn it off, you're no longer gonna have those accidental clicks of it. You can actually do a flip, and now these two buttons are pretty much like one with the controller. They become a hard buttons that you cannot press, essentially making them like the plastic on the back of the controller. So if you're playing a game where you want to turn it off, maybe you're playing this controller for everything, but you want to only use the back buttons for shooters, you can turn it off, and that is a really cool feature that I didn't really see too many controllers do before. But if you want to have the two buttons, we have the two on the back. And here's the thing, I personally love to have 4 buttons on the back, and this only has 2. But in my opinion, it isn't a bad thing. For example, if we use the 2 buttons on the back and it isn't enough for you, well, there's 2 more buttons on the top right here. Right where we have the triggers and the bumpers, there's actually a 3rd button. And these are remappable bumpers. Essentially, instead of having just the bumpers and the triggers, we also have a third button, which kind of sounds like a mouse click. And these two are pretty much like having a second set of extra programmable buttons. So no longer you're gonna have the 4 on the back if you're used to that, you have 2 on the front. And you might be thinking, how am I just gonna get to it when it's, you know, so far up front? To be honest, I thought the same thing. It's gonna be a little bit, you know, a stretch to get to them. Essentially, if you hold the controller like this, they're right there. You don't really have to move your fingers a lot. Like this is my trigger, this is my extra buttons, so I can pretty much touch all of the buttons at the same time. So yes, you're gonna have to use the same fingers that you use for the triggers and the buttons, but depending on what you put here, this could be actually very, I would say, if you get used to it, very ergonomic, because now you have 2 pedals here and then 2 on the top where you can put maybe something like jumping and sliding on the back here so that you have a little bit more faster response when you need it. But when you do things that are a little bit maybe not as important, well, you can do it here. For example, I just thought about it, but you can actually hold the trigger while clicking the button. So for example, if you're playing shooter game, you can actually aim and also ping your enemies with the back of the button with just a single finger. So in my opinion, while it is a little bit different, it does seem to work pretty nicely, and it seems to be ergonomically put together really well. So in my opinion, those are really cool, and we get the 4 removable buttons, which is always a nice thing on a Pro controller. Something that for me, for someone that plays a lot of shooter games, is a must. And if we're on topic of what is on the top, as you can see, there is this cover here. You can take it off if you're playing wirelessly, but if you want to play wired and you want to have a nicer secure connection for your USB, there is this cover thing on the top. Speaking of ports, on the bottom we have a audio jack here. We also have a mute microphone button and a wireless connection button. But now more specifically, the things that are really making this controller that much better. First off, we have a Hall effect triggers. So essentially they're Hall effect through the whole range. And if you're playing shooter games, for example, with one click on the back, you can have instant trigger. So pretty much like a mouse click. Essentially what this is making the triggers instant. So it's a mouse click, literally feels like a mouse click, which is perfect for shooting games. So in my opinion, for someone that wants to play competitive shooting games, this is a must-have controller. But there's one more thing that makes this the best Xbox FPS controller out there on the market, in my opinion. But coming back to the triggers, we have really nice bumpers as always. We have instant triggers if you want to, or you can turn it off, and you have Hall effect triggers. Then we have on the front, the buttons, the faceplates, are optical micro switches, so they're really tactile, really nice, and feel good on their hand, and just overall look really nice. And the most important part about this controller, why this makes it such a good controller, is the sticks themselves. They are a little bit different. While GameSir is known as an incredible company for controllers without stick drift, this is not even the same technology. This is no longer the Hall effect. This is a TMR stick, meaning that it's even better technology than Hall effect. So you're no longer gonna get stick drift. It should be much better for durability. But one thing I did not like about Hall effects is, well, they were more durable than a normal traditional analog. I did not like about them that they're a little bit more loose, like just the movement of it was a little bit more loose compared to like a standard traditional analog stick, where this TMR stick is much more, I would say, more tension on the stick, making it a little bit, in my opinion, accurate than a Hall effect stick. It's kind of like taking best of both worlds, the durability, but also the tension of a normal traditional analog stick. Not only that, a lot of Xbox controllers, and even those with Hall effect, tend to have this little bit of a dead zone. When you touch the controller, there is a little bit of a movement. When you just slightly touch it, tap it, you're gonna feel a little bit of that give, a little bit of that dead zone, and that recentering of the controller. So that is something that I don't usually like, and that is something that I felt like I am used to with PS5 custom controllers that are a little bit more precise in that regard, and when playing with Xbox controllers, they are a little bit less precise because of that. Well, these TMR sticks are incredibly precise. Not only there is a little bit more tension, but they have really nice centering with little to no movement when they're centered. So in my opinion, it's like the best of both worlds, having the nicer tension and more precise of the analog stick, but also having the nice durability of a Hall effect stick. So the TMR sticks are a game changer in my opinion. Just overall, this controller feels like the best of both worlds, and overall is, in my opinion, the best controller I have ever felt for an Xbox Series X. You can use it on PC and on mobile, but I mostly use it for Xbox Series X. And to be honest, I was waiting for a controller this good. This is everything I would want from a controller. Maybe just the wireless, but supposedly they're working on it, and it's gonna make this the best controller ever on Xbox so far. And one more thing, because it is a wireless controller, there is a battery inside, so it does feel a little bit better than the normal wired controllers for Xbox that are usually a little bit lighter. I do like when the controller is a little bit heavier, so this is more like the, you can feel it in hand, which is, in my opinion, really nice. And since I'm trying to be competitive, I usually still play with a wired connection, so it's kind of like the same way I would play with this. So essentially, this is a perfect controller for me. Especially if you're playing FPS games or more competitive, this is a great controller. So this is definitely the one I would go for if I wanted to have the top of the line Xbox controller. If you have any more questions about the GameSir G7 Pro, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.